even though the island makes up of only 0.3% of Malaysia's land area. That's crazy, right? One of the smallest state in size, but punching way above its weight in economic power. And here's the kicker. In 2023 itself, Penang attracted prime condos there are already command almost half the national market coming from one small state. It's famous worldwide not only for its food, culture, and walkable street, but also Penang officially imposed a ban in Airbnb across the island and mainland. You simply can't run Airbnb anymore. The MM2H, retirees can bring in foreign income tax-free while enjoying the flexibility of Lumpur. And that is why year after year, Penang keeps ranking as one of the best retirement spots in Asia. Everyone talks about KL and Johor Bahru, but do you know which city is quietly beating them up in growth, lifestyle, and foreign demand? It's Penang, an island smaller than Singapore, but it is known as the Silicon Valley of the East. So with billions flowing in, expats settling down, and property prices on the rise, is Penang about to become Malaysia's next big gold mine? Hey everyone, my name is Ray. Welcome to another episode of the Malaysia Property Market Review series. So when we talk about property, we can't ignore the economics behind it. And Penang's economy is very much different from Kuala Lumpur. In KL, it's mostly services, finance, tourism, offices. But in Penang, it's more about manufacturing and semiconductors. In fact, in 2023, 26.5% of Penang's GDP comes from manufacturing, mostly electronics and chips. And another 48% comes from services. And the rest, tourism, agriculture, construction, and mining. Now, here's what it means. Malaysia total GDP in 2023 was around 1.74 trillion, and Penang's share is about 7%, even though the island makes up of only 0.3% of Malaysia's land area. That's crazy, right? One of the smallest state in size, but punching way above its weight in economic power. And here's the kicker. In 2023 itself, Penang attracted 1.7 billion in foreign direct investment, FDI. That's almost half of FDI into Malaysia, flowing straight into Penang. So when people call Penang the Silicon Valley of the East, it's not just a marketing slogan. The state is literally the semiconductor hub of Malaysia and one of the key players in the global supply chain. As an investor, that's very important because strong economic fundamentals equals to long-term stability for the property market. So how does all this economic strength actually shows up in the real estate market? On the island side, places like Georgetown, Gurney Drive, Tanjong Tokong, prime condos there are already commanding between 1,200 to 1,500 per square feet. But of course, these aren't just normal home or condos, they are prestige addresses, lifestyle driven with sea view, heritage value, and limited land supply, keeping prices strong. Meanwhile, if you cross the bridge into the mainland, areas like Batu Kawan and Seberang Perai still looking at prices under 600 ringgit per square feet. That's less than half the cost of the island. And the demand there is being filled by something very different, namely the industrial growth spillover, jobs from the free industrial zone, and new factories setting up in Batu Kawan. So it's almost like Penang has two different property markets in just one state. A prestigious island market with land constraint, heritage protected, and lifestyle focus, and a growth mainland market which is affordable, fast developing, and backed by strong industrial activities. And that dual structure is what makes Penang so unique. Investors get to play both sides of the equation, while own-stay buyers can choose based on their lifestyle versus budget. Now, let's break down who's actually buying in Penang, because once you understand the player, the property picture comes alive. Firstly, investors. On the island, many are buying for preservation and prestige. Long-term rental yields hovers below 4%, but investors aren't just chasing cash flow. They want stability, heritage value, prime addresses, and sound capital appreciation. On the mainland, especially developments hub like Batu Kawan and Bayan Lepas, investors are chasing 5 to 6% yield, fueled by demand from factory workers and young professionals. Now here's where Penang shines. Well, their long-term rental yield is modest. Short-term rental, especially in the healthcare tourism niche, perform much better. In 2024 alone, Penang welcomed 412,000 foreign medical tourists and generating 888.7 million in revenue. That's nearly 41% of Malaysia's entire medical tourism's earning, almost half the national market coming from one small state. So why is Penang so attractive for short-term rentals? It really comes down to a few unique factors. Firstly, Penang is home to world-class private hospitals with international accreditation. People come here because the medical standards are top-notch. Secondly, the cost of treatment is much lower than Singapore, but the quality is almost the same. That makes Penang a natural choice for medical tourists, especially for those who want the best value for their money. Thirdly, there's a strong demand from neighboring Indonesia. Many Indonesians fly into Penang especially for healthcare, and they often stay for weeks and sometimes even with the entire family. And beyond healthcare, Penang itself is a UNESCO World Heritage City. It's famous worldwide not only for its food, culture, and walkable street, but also for its happening beaches like Bukit Frigi. This mix of heritage and seaside lifestyle is hard to find anywhere else in Malaysia. That's why Airbnb demand in Penang isn't just about holiday. It's also about healthcare, cultural tourism, beach vacation, and patient returning again and again, often bringing their family members along. So while long-term rentals here often deliver less than 4% ROI, short-term rentals here are dynamic, resilient, and consistently outperforming. But here's the catch. In 2023, Penang officially imposed a ban in Airbnb across the island and mainland for residential title units. The government wanted to control noises, safety, and community issue. So what does this mean? If your property is under residential title, you simply can't run Airbnb anymore. However, and this is key, some condos with commercial title are still allowed to operate. Now, because the supply is already limited, those units that can run Airbnb often end up generating even higher profit for their owners. In fact, I did a full property review on one of these special Airbnb-ready condos designed and built specifically for short-term rentals. They are very different from your typical condo, and they are purpose-built for investors who want to capitalize on this niche. So if you're curious on how it differs from normal condo, you can check out the video. I've linked it in the description below. Let's zoom in on foreign community, the retirees, expat, and MM2H holders who quietly made Penang their home. Why Penang? Under MM2H, retirees can bring in foreign income tax-free while enjoying the flexibility of long-term stay vibes. Combine that with Penang's low cost of living, and you have one of the most attractive retirement destinations in Asia. To put it into perspective, an unblocked beachfront condo in Penang might cost around 8,000 ringgit a month to rent. That same condo would easily be 3 times the price in Singapore or Hong Kong. And for healthcare, you're looking at world-class hospitals with international accreditation, but at a fraction of what you'd pay in the West. So the other day, I met an American couple who relocated here. So they told me that back in the States, their retirement fund only covers the basic. But in Penang, they can live comfortably on 12 to 13,000 ringgit a month, including housing, dining out, and even travel. So when I asked them to describe their life here, they say that Malaysians are always very welcoming and they love this island because, you can go to the beach and, there's also hilltop here as well, so you get everything in one single island. And that's the magic of Penang. You wake up to sea breezes, you spend mornings on natural trails or strolling heritage streets, whether it's Michelin recognized hawker store or authentic Peranakan cuisine. In the evening, you can enjoy art, live music, or just a quiet sunset by the beach. All of this while still being just a short flight from Singapore, Bangkok, or Kuala Lumpur. And that is why year after year, Penang keeps ranking as one of the best retirement spots in Asia, because it's not just about saving, it's about lifestyle, culture, and freedom that money can't buy. So what's the verdict of Penang? If you're after prestige and lifestyle, places like Georgetown and Gurney Drive will always carry trophy value. They're not just condos, they are cultural landmarks by the sea, and they hold their own in terms of long-term desirability. If you are chasing yields and future growth, Batu Kawan is one of the most compelling mainland bets. With semiconductor giants, 120,000 jobs projected, and waves of new township rising, it's shaping up to be one of the next chapters of Penang's story. And if you're thinking long-term, projects like Silicon Island, the Penang LRT, and the airport expansion are going to be an absolute game changer. These are not just cosmetic upgrades, they are structural catalysts that will reshape how people live, work, and invest here for decades. It's a steady evolving ecosystem backed by real industry, international demands, and continuous infrastructure upgrade. For investors, it means you've got choices. Play it safe like seafront preservation assets that holds value like fine wine, or place your bet on growth corridors with rooms to expand and surprise on the upside. Either way, Penang deserves a serious spot on your radar. So if you enjoyed this video about Penang, feel free to hit the like and subscribe button. It will really motivate me to create more contents like this. This is Ray signing off. Until we meet again, ciao. If you'd like to know more about this project or get to know more about Malaysia's property market insight or have a personalized loan consultation, just check out the link in the description below. So in the description below, you also find the link to our Telegram group where we'll be sharing the latest property market updates in Malaysia.